Welcome, and this is Low Budget Philosophy. Imagine a situation when you encounter your friend. It's one of those annoying friends that you don't really want to talk to. He tells you about his parents, about his daughter, about his son, about his school, about his grades, but all of a sudden you decide to really listen to what he's saying. Yesterday, I prayed to get an A+ in my class. And today, I got a grade. And I got an A+. So therefore, God exists. And so you'll think to yourself, wow, he prayed and he got A+ just as he prayed? Wow. But then the next day he comes to you and again he says, well, I prayed for an A+, but this time I didn't get it. But you know what? It's probably my fault. But God, he still exists. He still exists. But then you think to yourself, something is wrong in this scenario. So what is wrong? So in this video, we're going to talk about falsifiability or refutability. Falsifiability is a possibility for a statement to be proven wrong. If someone makes a statement that, let's say for example, X exists, or X causes Y. If the statement is falsifiable, there must be a theoretical scenario where X doesn't exist or X does not cause Y. Let's look at an example of a statement that can be easily falsified. Gravity. It's very easy to falsify gravity. The question is how? Well, for example, take any object, hold it in your hand, and let it go. What would you expect to see? Well, if gravity is true, you would expect to see the object falling down on the table. But if the gravity is false, the object wouldn't move at all. And this is how you falsify gravity. So why exactly is gravity such an acceptable scientific theory? Well, there are two keys. First, it's very easy to falsify the statement gravity exists. And second of all, every time anyone tried to falsify it, the statement still remained true. So that's why scientists arrived to a conclusion that gravity is in fact real. There are several very important details. First of all, the gravity is very easy to falsify. And second of all, every time anyone tried to falsify it, it still remained true. Going back to the first dialogue, the first person claims that God exists because prayer works. Well, a skeptic would ask, what do you mean by works? Are you trying to say that it always works? Well, of course not, says the first person. It doesn't always work. It's all up to God to decide when it's gonna work or not. And so then you ask, well, how do you falsify your statement that God exists? Because it seems that no matter what happens, that God still exists. And so, a skeptic would ask, what exactly do you need to see in order to say, aha, God doesn't exist? In case of gravity, it was very easy. All you needed to see was an object that didn't fall. So, it shows that the statement God exists is unfalsifiable. Let's look at some other unfalsifiable statements. One such an example of an unfalsifiable statement could be this. There are 12 penguins living in the middle of Mars. They all breathe fire, and they convert everything to gold. Since we don't have any way to access the middle of Mars, the statement is unfalsifiable in its nature, and it should be disregarded. Another example of an unfalsifiable statement could be this. If I don't put on my lucky socks on while watching the game, my team will perform much worse than if I didn't put them on. Since the person only watches the game once, there is no way to falsify this statement. At this specific case, we are missing what is known as control group. So we cannot compare it to anything else. There are also some nonsensical statements as Apple or HGKLM ROOLZ97. And what unites all of those four statements is that there is no way to prove them wrong. Especially in the last two cases, those statements don't even make any sense. But the first two cases are much trickier because they create an illusion of being a statement that can be potentially falsifiable. In philosophy, we call it philosophical nonsense. All four statements are just philosophical nonsense. Such statements should not be taken seriously. Thanks for watching. I would like to thank my mom and my dad for making this video possible.